Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're really digging into something absolutely critical if you're trying to build anything online, especially on Instagram.
That's right. We're talking about your Instagram engagement rate. We've been looking through insights from Mastering Instagram Engagement for Growth.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to unpack why this rate is like the real pulse of your Instagram success.
We'll walk you through, how you actually figure it out, why yours might feel frustratingly low sometimes.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. And most importantly, share some really solid strategies from the source material to help you boost it.
Because it's just not about racking up followers anymore, is it? I mean, that's only part of the picture.
Not at all. It's way more about building actual connections, getting that visibility boost from the algorithm.
Which we all want.
Exactly. And driving, real growth. Doesn't matter if you're a creator, a business, a service provider. This applies across the board.
Getting noticed online, it's tough. It can feel like you're just shouting into the wind sometimes. But understanding these key metrics, these strategies, it really makes a difference.
It absolutely does. And the source does point out that sometimes leveraging smart resources can be part of that strategy too. Like tools you might find exploring options at, say, rapidboost.net, which focus on helping elevate your profile using smart tactics.
Right, exploring those options can be part of the puzzle. It's all about building that thriving presence.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's get into it. What is engagement on Instagram, and why should we care so much?
We'll think of engagement rate as like a vital sign for your content.
A pulse check.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It measures how much people are actually interacting with what you post.
So the likes, the comments.
Right. Likes, comments, saves, shares, even DMs. It's all that activity
Well,
measured against either your total follower count or maybe even better, against how many people actually saw the post, your reach.
okay, so it's not just who follows you, but who sees it and then actually does something. Why does the algorithm care so much?
Because that interaction is basically Instagram's #1 signal that your content is good, that it's relevant, it's valuable.
Okay.
When people engage, Instagram's like, okay, people like this, let's show it to more people.
So it triggers more visibility.
Exactly. Your content travels further, you build stronger bonds with the people who already follow you, and, that fuels growth, maybe even sales down the line. High engagement basically screams trustworthy and relatable to both the algorithm and your audience.
That makes perfect sense. It's like social proof baked right in. Hey, people are actually stopping and interacting here.
Precisely.
So what counts? You mentioned likes, comments. Is it just those obvious ones?
Well, those are key, but there's kind of a hierarchy.
Yeah.
A like is quick, it's easy. A comment, that takes more effort. It starts a conversation. Saves are huge. The source calls them a gold mine. If someone saves your post, that means they think it's valuable enough to come back to. That's a really strong signal.
A gold mine. Wow, I like that framing. What about shares?
Shares are powerful for reach, obviously. They push your content out to entirely new networks.
Mm-hmm.
And DMs, especially for businesses, show, like, direct interest. Even profile visits or clicking a link in your bio after seeing a post. That shows intent.
So some actions definitely carry more weight than others. It's not all equal.
Yeah, that's a really key point from the source. While any engagement is good, the algorithm seems to value shares, saves, and meaningful comments more highly.
Because they require more effort.
Exactly. They show a deeper level of investment from the viewer. It suggests someone didn't just passively like it, they actively found it useful or resonant enough to keep or pass on. That usually points to your most loyal followers.
Fascinating. Okay, numbers time. How do we actually calculate this thing? Put a percentage on it.
Okay, so the classic way, the one that's often used for comparing yourself to others in your industry, uses your total follower count.
Right.
You just add up all the engagement on a single post. So likes plus comments plus saves plus shares. Get that total number.
Okay.
Then you divide that total by your number of followers and multiply by 100 to get the percentage.
Gotcha. The source had a good example, say 5,000 followers, and a post gets 320 likes, 64 comments, 18 shares, and 24 saves.
Right. So first add them up. 320 plus 64 plus 18 plus 24. That's 426 total interactions.
Okay, 426.
Now divide 426 by your 5,000 followers, then multiply by 100. That gives you 8.52%.
8.52% seems clear enough, but you mentioned another way, using reach. Why do that?
Yeah, the reach method. The formula is the same idea. Total engagement divided by the post's reach times 100.
But why use reach instead of followers?
Well, the thinking is your follower count might include a lot of people who are inactive, or maybe even bots, right? People who never actually see your posts.
Ah, okay. So reach is the number who actually saw it.
Exactly. So calculating based on reach gives you arguably a more accurate picture of how engaging that specific piece of content was to the people it actually reached.
That makes a lot of sense. So using that same example, 426 interactions, but maybe it only reached 3,800 people.
Right. So then you'd calculate 426 divided by 3,800 times 100, which comes out to 11.21%.
Whoa, that's quite a bit higher. 8.52% and Cycus 11.21%.
It often is higher with reach.
Yeah.
The source suggests maybe using both. Follower-based is good for those industry benchmarks, seeing how you stack up generally.
And reach-based.
Reach-based is probably better for understanding how well your content is actually performing, piece by piece, with the people who see it.
Good advice. Okay, so we know how to measure it. Now the big question, what's actually a good engagement rate in 2024? Is there a magic number?
Ah, the million-dollar question. And the answer is, well, it depends. There's no single number that fits everyone.
Figures. Depends on what?
Your industry plays a role, definitely. How big your audience is makes a huge difference. And even the type of content you normally post.
Okay, but are there any general guidelines? Ballpark figures?
Yeah, the source gives some helpful ranges based on follower count, which is a good starting point. For smaller accounts, like nano-influencers, that's usually 1,000 to 10,000 followers, aiming for something like 4% to 8% is pretty strong.
4 to 8%, okay. What about bigger accounts?
As you grow, the rate naturally tends to dip a bit. For micro-influencers, say 10K to 100K followers, somewhere between 2% and 4% is considered solid.
And for the really big accounts, 100K plus?
Yeah, for those larger accounts, getting 1.5% to 2.5% is actually seen as quite positive. It's just harder to maintain those super high rates with massive audiences.
What about businesses, brands? Is there a target for them?
The source suggests that businesses and brands should generally be aiming for rates above 2%.
Okay. And if you're consistently way below these numbers for your size,
That's usually a pretty strong signal that something's off. Either your content isn't hitting the mark, or maybe you're not reaching the right audience. Time to investigate.
right. So let's talk about why it might be low. If someone's looking at their numbers and feeling discouraged, what are the common culprits?
There are a few usual suspects. A big one is just an audience content mismatch,
Meaning?
meaning the stuff you're posting just isn't what your followers signed up for or what they're interested in now. Their tastes might have changed, or maybe your content direction shifted.
Just like my knitting example earlier, if I suddenly switch topics entirely.
Exactly. Or maybe it's just not hitting their needs anymore. You always got to check, is this relevant to them? Another thing is algorithmic changes. Sometimes Instagram updates things, and your reach or engagement might suddenly dip. It happens.
Yeah, the dreaded algorithm update. What about follower quality? You mentioned bots earlier.
Huge factor. Follower quality. If your account is full of inactive users, bot followers, bots, they don't engage. Ever. So they inflate your denominator, that follower count, but add nothing to the numerator, the engagement. It tanks your rate. Always focus on attracting real interested people.
Makes sense. And how often you post? Does that matter?
Posting patterns, definitely. If you're totally erratic, people forget about you. If you post constantly, like multiple times a day with just okay stuff, you can cause content fatigue. People just start scrolling past.
So consistency is good, but not overwhelming them.
Right. Finding that sweet spot. And when you post matters too, hitting those times when your audience is actually online.
And sometimes, maybe we just forget to ask.
That's the last big one. Dull or missing calls to action. If you don't clearly ask or invite people to comment, save, share, click the link. A lot of people just won't. You got to prompt them.
Okay, so lots of potential reasons for low engagement. Now for the good part. How do we fix it? Let's get into those strategies.
Right. This is where it gets practical. The core idea here is shifting focus to building real relationships and making content that's frankly irresistible.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Strategy number 1, craft content your audience genuinely cares about.
And how do we know what they care about? Guesswork.
No guesswork needed. Use your Instagram insights. Seriously, dive in there. See which posts historically got the most interaction, likes, comments, saves, shares. Check when your audience is most active. See which formats, images, videos, reels, stories they responded to best. Let that data guide you.
Use the clues they're already giving you. Makes sense. And you mentioned formats. It's not just about photos anymore, is it?
Not at all. You got to go beyond images.
Yeah.
Use multiple formats. Reels are huge right now. The algorithm loves short form video, and they're great for reach. Carousel posts, those swipeable ones, keep people on your post longer. which is another good signal.
And stories.
Stories are fantastic for interaction. Polls, quizzes, Q&As, super easy ways to get engagement. The source actually highlights a case study, a travel blogger at Jess.Wanders.
Oh, yeah. What did she do?
She basically doubled her engagement just by adding weekly reels showing a day in my city.
Oh,
It was a format change her audience loved, and it led to way more share than comments.
perfect example. Finding what clicks with your people. What about the captions? The words we use?
Super important. Optimize your captions and calls to action. The source points out something interesting.
Right.
Stories are like 22 times more memorable than just facts.
Wow, 22 times.
Yeah. So use your captions to tell little stories, share relatable moments, ask questions that actually make people think and want to respond. And like we said, always, always end with a clear, specific CTA. Don't be vague. Tell them exactly what you want them to do. Comment below. Save this recipe. Tag someone who needs to see this.
Make it crystal clear, which leads nicely into the next point. Make engagement easy for them.
Precisely. And that starts with you. Reply to comments and DMs. Be active in your own community. Don't just drop a generic thanks. Ask follow-up questions. Show you're actually reading and valuing their input. Build real conversations.
And those interactive story features.
Use them. Polls, quizzes, stickers, all those things. They make it so easy for people to interact. It's just a tap. It gets them involved, creates that two-way communication, and it helps push your stories to the front of their feed because Instagram sees that interaction.
And contests. People love a giveaway.
Absolutely. Run contests or giveaways. It's a classic for a reason. Quick way to boost interaction. Just keep the rules simple, like share, tag a friend maybe, and make sure the prize is something your actual audience would want so you attract relevant engagement.
Good point. Now, we touched on posting frequency. Consistently, but not too much.
That's the balance. Post consistently, but not excessively. The source suggests that for many brands, posting maybe 4 to 6 times a week works well. But the golden rule is quality over quantity, always.
Right. Better fewer great posts than lots of mediocre ones.
Exactly. Use a content calendar to plan it out and stay consistent without scrambling. And timing matters too.
Is there a universal best time?
Well, data like Sprout Socials often points to general trends, like weekdays, maybe 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. being peak times, Sundays often lower. But, and this is key, the absolute best time is when your specific audience is most active. Check your insights for that. Your data trumps general advice every time.
Always go back to your own audience data. Makes sense. What about leveraging the people already interacting?
Yes. Leverage user-generated content, UGC. It's incredibly powerful. Feature your real customers, your fans. Reshare their posts or stories, with permission, of course. Create a branded hashtag they can use. Thank them publicly. It builds massive trust and community feel.
Shows you're listening and appreciate them. And the last strategy, working with others.
Collaborate with influencers or even smaller micro-influencers. It's a great way to get your content in front of a new but relevant and engaged audience. Co-create something, run a joint giveaway, do an Instagram live takeover. Lots of options.
Wow, okay, that's a ton of actionable stuff. Does it look different depending on who you are, like a creator versus a business?
The core ideas are the same, but yeah, the emphasis might shift a little. For individual creators and influencers, it's often about leaning heavily into personality, lots of stories, behind-the-scenes stuff, authentic reels, using polls to get audience feedback directly.
Makes sense. And for brands and businesses.
They need to find that balance between providing clear value tips, resources, product info, and telling compelling stories, highlighting customer successes, running campaigns with clear goals, using stories for testimonials or feedback.
And service providers, like coaches or consultants.
For them, DMs and comments are prime territory for leads and follow-up. Sharing client spotlights, case studies showing before and after results. That builds huge credibility.
It helps to see it in action. That fitness studio case study you mentioned earlier really drives it home.
Yeah, it's a great example. They were really struggling, remember, sub 1% engagement.
Right. So what did they change specifically?
They shifted hard into reels, short workout clips, easy recipes. They created a monthly challenge with its own hashtag encouraging people to post their own progress. That's the UGC piece. And, crucially, they committed just 20 minutes a day to actively answering DMs and comments, building those conversations.
And the outcome?
Pretty dramatic. In just 3 months, their engagement rate jumped to 5.7%. But more importantly, they saw a 40% increase in class bookings directly from Instagram.
Wow, 40%. That's not just vanity metrics, that's real business impact.
Exactly. It shows that this stuff calculated, consistent engagement builds numbers, yes, but also loyalty and actual results.
Okay, so for anyone listening who's thinking, right, I need to do this, but where do I even start? The source gives a kind of step-by-step makeover plan, doesn't it?
It does. A really clear action plan. Step 1, audit and analyze. Go back, look at maybe your last 20 posts. Calculate your rate, both ways, follower-based and reach-based. Know your starting point.
Get that baseline. Okay. Step 2.
Step 2, identify what works. Look at that audit data. What types of posts got the best reactions? Which formats? What topics? What time did you post them? Find your bright spots.
Learn from your own successes. Got it. Step 3.
Step 3, set realistic, specific goals. Don't just say, I want more engagement. Be specific, like increase my average reach-based rate to 3% by next quarter, or boost story interactions by 20% this month. Make it measurable.
Makes sense. Then plan the content, right?
Step 4, plan and schedule compelling content. Use what you learned in Step 2 to build a content calendar. Mix up those formats, reels, carousels, stories, and make sure every post has that clear CTA.
Step 5 feels like the relationship building part.
Totally. Step 5, foster conversation. Block out time every day if you can, even just 15-20 minutes, to reply to comments and relevant DMs. Ask questions back. Show up for your community.
And keep trying new things.
Step 6, experiment and iterate. Instagram changes, your audience changes. Try new features when they roll out. Test different posting times. Play with different CTAs. Track your analytics weekly or bi-weekly. See what moves the needle, drop what doesn't, do more of what does.
And the final step, leveraging tools.
Step 7, leverage tools for extra impact. The source mentions this is where you might consider tools that can help streamline things or offer deeper insights. Things like, again, looking into options like rapidboost.net for maybe advanced analytics, managing campaigns, or getting strategic insights to support organic growth.
That whole step-by-step process makes it feel much less daunting. Break it down, tackle it piece by piece.
Exactly. Getting a handle on your Instagram engagement rate really empowers you. It's not just some abstract number, it's your growth engine, really. It's the connection to the algorithm, the pulse of your community.
So it really comes down to being data aware, setting clear goals, and consistently showing up with valuable content and conversation.
You got it. Do that day in, day out, and you're not just chasing numbers, you're building a genuinely thriving community, and that leads to sustainable growth. The source actually ends with a little challenge. Analyze your next 10 posts. Pick 3 new tactics we talked about today. Try them out and see what happens. Let the results guide you.
That's a great actionable takeaway. Okay, so you've heard the breakdown, the metrics, the strategies, the step-by-step. You've got the tools. But here's a final thought to chew on as you go implement all this. In this world of constantly shifting algorithms and trends, what does authentic engagement truly mean for your specific community? Beyond just hitting a certain percentage. How do you find that sweet spot between playing the game the algorithm wants and building those deep, genuine, long-lasting relationships with the real people following you? Something to think about as you dive back into engaging.
Definitely something to consider. We really hope this deep dive has armed you with some valuable insights and, more importantly, some concrete steps you can take starting today.